and welcome into today's Red and Blue Crew podcast. I'm Brad Logan. David Johnson has a very well-deserved day off. We've got a full show for you today. A ton of interviews with a number of different players and also head coach Lane Kiffin. Could not do what we do without our sponsor, our title and presenting sponsor, the Land Shark, and the Velvet Ditch. Grateful they're a part of the Red and Blue Crew podcast. It was a big day for Ole Miss. Practice began yesterday as we record early on Wednesday morning, and a ton of information. You can catch a lot of that. It was a great practice report by Chuck Rounsville on Rebel Grove. That's a part of the On3 family. There's wall-to-wall coverage via podcasts and being written articles, so I encourage you to check all of those out. But today we want you to hear from some of the players and about how excited they are this season. Some of them are new players. You look at newer players, I should say. You look at Logan Diggs, the running back. We'll hear from him. Suntarine Perkins, we'll hear from him as well, a Mississippi native who's excited about playing for the home team and the Ole Miss Rebels. Bryson Sanders, someone that is going to be fighting for that center position. You know, it was mainly Reese McIntyre's last year, but everything that we've seen, and of course, it appears everything that Ole Miss wants right now. They want Bryson Sanders to win that spot. But there are opportunities. There could be other players there, but Bryson Sanders wants to be the starting center. And then, of course, quarterback Austin Simmons. I thought he did a really good job in Atlanta, dealing with questions and dealing with everything that comes with coming after a quarterback as successful as Jackson Dart. You'll hear in the interview I had with Austin what it's like kind of following him and how he's kind of, maneuvering through that. So a ton of interviews. The biggest takeaway I took from yesterday was the same thing I took away from SEC Media Day. Was a very quiet confidence in this team. It's a confidence that it feels really good about itself, specifically on offense. But then, and many people are asking about the defense. I did speak with Xavier Harris and Jalen Braxton. Jalen, of course, the transfer out of Arkansas. And they're excited about what they can do. They're excited about, I think the good word would be opportunity on defense, because so many people are counting out this defense. Initially, before kind of SEC Media came around, I had a chance to visit with some of the players. I felt like it would be a pretty substantial step back, specifically on the defensive front. I'm not so sure that's the case. Judging by, everyone I talked to yesterday and judging by, just the feel around the program, it doesn't feel to be that substantial of a hit. I think the defensive backfield, this team's going to miss Trey Amos, who's really lighting it up with the Washington Commanders. And he's going to be a big position to fill. But there are some guys that can make the transition. Like I said, Braxton, the transfer out of Arkansas, is just one of the many players, along with Sage Ryan and others, that will have to take the proverbial step up. But we appreciate you joining us here on the Red and Blue Crew podcast, the Land Shark and the Velvet Ditch. I want to say a special thank you to the Hearn Law Firm. You heard their ad before, and you'll hear it in the end. And we're grateful they're a part of the Red and Blue Crew podcast. Ton of interviews coming up here. We'll hear from head coach Lane Kiffin and others on the Red and Blue Crew podcast.
I do take a lot of pride in that with our staff and our former players of what was done, and our staff all coming back for this season. It's very exciting because there's so much player turnover in nowadays football. And anyway, no matter where you are, plus we lost a lot of great players, a number of them to the NFL. And I said that at Media Day, just to be in a position where we have these attendance records being set, sold out season tickets already, 3 10-win seasons in the last 4 years. The previous 51 years, there was 3 top 12 finishes in the last 4 years, and won the previous 51 years is really gives me perspective about what our players and staff have been able to do here. So that's the standard that we've created. It's the expectations that we have. 21 wins in the last 2 years. So these players have been talked to a lot about that, and that's hopefully why they came here, was understanding that what we've been able to achieve and the level that we want to play at and expect to play at. 3 winningest programs since COVID in the SEC, including the new programs, are Georgia, Alabama, and Ole Miss. And that's our expectation and standards. of how we expect to play. There'll be a lot of competition in this camp, as always, regardless of what players have done before. They heard that last night, and that reflected in practice today to create a very competitive atmosphere. I think that this team needs to really have a blue-collar mindset to outwork people and to grind people out in games. So we've been working on that, and it's an exciting group of kids coming together. Yeah, we just spent a lot of time with them, even last night in the first team meeting. I talked to a lot because there's so many new guys about, I think that I know we are. We're very open door here, and I know every coach says that. And I tell our players, and probably not much that you've gone through that this staff hasn't. The staff's been through a lot in their lives, very experienced staff that way, I would say, with off the field things. And so I think we're really close with our players that way. They know that. We spend a lot of time with them and really try to help them through that. We tell them that as they come here. It's not just our job to coach you in football. It's our job to surround you with people that have gone through the things you're going to go through as premier college players.
That was Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin, and I thought a couple of interesting things. Obviously, Corey Adams, what he meant to the program and his passing, but specifically talked about mental health and about how important that was, and not being just a football coach, but being kind of a mentor off the field, and thought that was interesting. But yeah, kind of goes back to when he took the job, and Keith Carter and Dr. Glenn Boyce made the decision to go with Lane Kiffin. Not everyone knew, number one, if he would be successful, although if he was, number two, how long he would stay at Ole Miss. I think, myself included, surprised that he's been at Ole Miss this long, but obviously things have worked out well for Lane Kiffin. They worked out well for Ole Miss. Let's have a chance to visit with some players. We'll hear from Austin Simmons, Bryson Sanders, DeJon Stribling, Logan Diggs, and Suntarine Perkins. And we'll hear what they have to say about fall camp and the beginning of what many think will be a good season. I mean, you look at the schedule. We talked about it before Lane came out to the press conference about the games that are troublesome on the schedule. We've talked about it ad nauseum here on the Red and Blue Crew podcast. But at the end of the day, these players are excited about what's to come this year for Ole Miss football.
A really good receiver room for you to throw to. Great group of guys, honestly. And I built some chemistry over the summer with them, flying them down to my hometown just to get some training in, just getting to be around them as people as well, just hanging out with them, just getting to know them better as people. And on top of that, just seeing how everyone really excelled from spring football to now, there's more savviness to them. There's more attributes of savviness, and on top of that, I just can't wait to see what they're going to do.
We told you at SEC Media Days, I don't know if you remember, but the next day you were taking the offensive line out to eat. I guess that went well.
That went amazing. Yeah, it was a great night, honestly, just being around them. There's a whole lot of laughs, too, because of Joe Corey, just making jokes left and right. But it was just a great night, just being around them, just treating them out to dinner.
A lot of experience has gone off that offensive line from last year, but this year some transferred in. Townsend, Kutas, you got Bryson Sanders back. How's the offensive line so far, and then what are you excited about seeing over the next couple of weeks before the first game?
I'm really confident in this group of guys. They do a lot for me. They do a lot for the whole offense, and seeing how much they progress. Especially learning a new offense, of course, and really just getting adjusted to the whole different playing style of our tempo, and I'm just excited to see what they're gonna do week one. Just make that set the tone for the entire season.
Not that anybody's making a comparison to Jackson Dart, but if you were to talk about kind of filling his shoes, those are really big shoes to fill. How are you kind of manufacturing that moving forward towards the first game and kind of making your way for Austin versus what Ole Miss fans had with Jackson last year?
I mean, I'm not really focused on filling shoes, really just focusing on doing as much as I really can, being the best player I could be day in, day out, and just progressing overall as a player, but also as a human being off the field. and just being the best quarterback can be for this program.
The other room that we haven't talked about is the depth is the running back room. And we talked with Logan Diggs and had a moment to visit with Lacey a moment ago, and then Shakai Mills and I. The room, much more depth and talent, and just your overall thoughts on the running back room.
No, I'm really excited for these group of guys. They put a lot of work in with Coach Smith, and the amount of times I see them walk through in the indoor facility, it's great seeing how passionate they are about this whole thing. Seeing how determined they are coming to the season, see how much they want to learn, how better they want to get as players, and just excited for them as well.
What's it going to mean to you when you get off the bus at the Walk of Champions and walking through those fans, being the quarterback at Ole Miss? What would you like to say to the fans and the people of Oxford, and how excited are you about being the number one guy?
I'm really excited for the season. I just can't wait to go out there week one and just dominate.
Taking a look at the schedule, I know you may not give me the true answer, but Kentucky is, right there, and it was a tough game for you guys last year. But what are your thoughts on the overall schedule this year and some games you're kind of looking forward to?
I'm not looking that far down the road, honestly. I'm just focused on Georgia State, just getting past them.
And your thoughts heading into the season?
I love the group that we have in the line room, honestly. The guys we brought in this past transfer portal, especially in the interior, they're hell of a players, and they just want to work. No matter where they play at, they just want to get on the field and work. And I think that's good to have in the O-line room, that competitiveness, that drive to get on the field. And, I think honestly in every college football team, everyone always questions the O-line no matter where you are. And there's always a lot of questions here. The last 3 years I've been here, everyone always questions the O-line. But I think this year it can be different, and, we can really put the team on our backs.
Obviously, depth chart is not a word you throw around this day and age with NIL on the portal. But Lane did mention that the competition piece was going to be big for every position. Obviously, your name has been synonymous with center all throughout the offseason. Is that a position that you feel like you want to try to win during the offseason, and how's the position look right now?
Yeah, 100%. I've been playing center the last 3 years. I've got to learn behind some great guys, Reese, Buckshot, Gurkwan last year a little bit. So, I think I'm ready for it, and I'm excited to, be able to compete. We have great guys as well. Patrick has the ability to play center as well. We just have a lot of depth, and, I just got to come every day ready to work and ready to be my best.
Some transfers, you mentioned Patrick Kutas along with Delano Townsend, and there are others, but how has that transition been from their decision to transfer to Ole Miss? And have they kind of leaned upon some of you guys that have been here before?
Yeah, it's been good. Since the first day they came in, there hasn't really been any problems, honestly. Everyone just wants to work, compete, be the best, and, they're also cool guys to hang with outside the field as well. We joke around with each other all the time, and I've tried to become a more vocal leader, especially with all the guys we lost. So, kind of being in that role and helping them out a little bit has also helped me become a better leader as well.
You look at the season, and I think I asked Caden Lee a moment ago, and I knew what he would probably say. But I don't have to tell you about the Kentucky game last year. On the schedule this year, it's early on. Is that a game you guys kind of have circled and maybe have thought about a little bit?
100%. I think all the games we lost last year should be circled for everyone, honestly, especially Kentucky, because that's a game we definitely should have won. And I love that it's week 2 this year, jumping right into it. So, I'm excited for that, excited to go down there.
What are some things you learned from last year? We asked Lane in Atlanta about some things which you might have not necessarily done differently, but maybe what you learned, and he answered, which we would have had a better rushing attack when we needed it. What are your thoughts on what you may have learned last year that you can take forward to this year?
From what I learned, honestly, the guys we had in the O-line room last year, we had a lot of experience in that O-line room. The 2 guys we brought in from Washington, and we had probably 5 or 6-year seniors. So for me personally, I learned a lot of football from them over the course of the year, and I learned, especially on the field, about a lot of football IQ stuff, and I'm excited.
Great. We have a lot of guys who can compete. A lot of guys. So it pushes us to be better. Everyone's out there competing for a spot, trying to dominate, and all in all, we just lift up each other. We're just one team, one goal.
I asked Harrison a moment ago, how's the transition been over? Obviously with Austin Simmons, Caden Lee, a veteran receiver. Has everything gone pretty well so far?
For sure. The transition was smooth. Got here. These guys are my brothers, my family. I really love this whole team, love the guys in it, and just doing good things.
You know, Lane Kiffin's always kind of upper echelon of the next step forward. He's always kind of been at the preeminent spot of college football. What makes his offenses so fun to play in that you've seen so far? You know, obviously you made the decision to come to Ole Miss, but what makes him so good at what he does?
He's very confident in what he does, you know, in his scheme and the plays, and just very confident, very smart, you know, very outgoing and stuff like that. So those are the things that I like about it: explosiveness, you know, the chances to make plays downfield and even short field. So it's a good offense.
Obviously had a number of places you could go when you entered the portal. What kind of put Ole Miss over the edge for you and made the decision to come to play for the Rebels?
The offense, the conference, and most importantly, I just want to win. You know, I want to be able to contribute to a great team and help them win some games.
What are you most excited about when you talk about, fan bases and stadiums and, you know, the pageantry of it all? What are you most excited about when you talk about Ole Miss and playing football here?
I'm excited to be out there. I'm excited to be out there on the field with all the boys here, making plays, you know, just winning games.
Have you had a chance to, you know, see what the Grove's all about, or have a chance to see kind of the game day atmosphere and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I kind of been around campus a lot, you know, like looked at everything, but I'm ready to see it like live action, you know, the Walk of Champions, all that kind of things. I'm ready to see it in person.
Awesome.
I feel like we have a really, really good room. You know, I feel like we all mesh together well. We all bring a different dynamic, you know, to the game. You know, I will probably put myself as like the more, you know, versatile that can do everything back. But then we have, you know, Keywan Lacey coming in from Missouri.
Yeah.
He's that change of pace back, that home run hitter, that you know, that explosive playability, kind of like Dewish last year. And then we got Don from last year, a seasoned vet that can, you know, get the job done in every aspect. We got DT coming in from Troy, you know, another hard, tougher in between and running tackles, break a lot of tackles. And we got Shakai coming in as a freshman that has that, you know, that size speed ratio that's pretty rare, you know, that comes to a school. So I think that we have a really, really good back with like a lot of potential.
We saw you a little bit in the Gator Bowl, had the knee brace on at one point, took it off the other. You good to go first of the season?
Good to go, full go.
What makes Shakai Mills Knight so good? I mean, he's highly decorated out of Tennessee, but he had all the accolades coming in. What makes him such a good running back? And is that transitioning over pretty well early?
I definitely would say it's transition over well. You know, every freshman, you know, has their learning curves. You know, 9 times out of 10 more with like understanding like concepts and schemes of like, you know, pass pro and stuff, but. You know, ultimately, I feel like he's picked up on a lot of information. He spends a lot of extra time, you know, with Coach Fred and with Coach Schmidt, you know, learning, you know, asking me and Dominique and Keywan questions about what he needs to do better to get better. So I feel like, you know, just coming in as a young guy, you know, being eager to play, eager and ready, I feel like he's done good. And, you know, what makes him special is, like I said, that size, speed ratio. You know, he's about 6'1", 6'2", almost 220 pounds, but he ran 10.5, 10.6 in high school. So, you know, extremely powerful, but at the same time, you know, extremely fast. And, you know, that when you're powerful and fast, you know, it's hard to tackle. So I feel like, you know, in the near future, he's going to, you know, make a lot of plays here and be a really good back here as well.
When you decided to enter the portal from LSU, what made Ole Miss stand out and what made Ole Miss the destination for you?
Because, you know, coming out of high school, I don't think a lot of people knew this, but me and Coach Smith had a really good relationship out of high school. It was down to LSU, Ole Miss, and Notre Dame. I think a lot of people, you know, didn't necessarily knew that. And, you know, every time I entered the portal, when I entered the first time from Notre Dame, they were the first people that, you know, called me, got me to come up here on a visit. And then when I entered the second time, first people to call me had understood and knew about, you know, my injury in the bowl game. And, you know, the plan wasn't for me to, we want you to come back right now and rush you back. The plan was, we want you to come back. We want you here. We know the kind of, you know, player that you are, and we believe in you and your mindset to come back from your injury and, you know, help us this year or, you know, help us this upcoming season, you know. And they're the first people to call me as well. And I feel like that speaks volumes, you know. Kind of, not in a bad way, but like kind of, you know, gave him the cold shoulder twice, but at the same time, they still believed in me, still trusted in me. So at the same time, I feel like I not necessarily owed it to him, but I feel like it was a blessing, it was an honor that that they wanted me even at my lowest, and that speaks a lot about this place and about the coaches too.
What makes Lane Kiffin so special as a head coach?
I definitely would say what makes Coach Kiffin special as a head coach is probably his resume. All the great players that he's been around and great coaches that he's been around, being able to give us that feedback of, what it takes to get to the next level, what it looks like at practice to get to the next level, how the good players approach the game, how the good players, approach football. He's been at each level. He's been in the NFL. He's been coaching side by side with Coach Nick Saban. And from the running back position, he's had some of the best backs to grace a college football field. So I feel like just him and his knowledge of the game and what he gives to us and the information that he gives us makes him extremely special, because I feel like everything that he says and he knows it has a purpose, and I feel like he knows exactly what he's talking about, and he has the facts and statistics to prove it.
I thought it was going to find you. Coming in on the summer, everybody just, we got a lot of new guys in. Everybody just, just trying to build that connection with guys that, just not get in. Everybody just buying into the system, and hopefully, going into fall camp, the first day of fall camp, I think we look really good. Just a lot of things we just got to do, but I feel like it's gonna be a great season this year.
Just sitting there, TJ Daugherty was at this table, and he's the one that was at SEC Media Day, has the green dot. You guys obviously are the leaders on the defense. Do you feel some responsibility to be a leader on that defense, and what have you done to kind of help some younger players or some transfers across that defense this year?
Just got we got a lot of new guys in. We just come in every day, like extra meetings, stuff like that. And we real young too. So everybody really just everybody get everybody used to just buying into the system and stuff like that.
The defensive line, we talked Xavier Harris a moment ago, and he stepped up, and Cam Franklin, Eccles, and some other guys. What are your thoughts on that defensive front with a lot of those players now playing in the National Football League?
Definitely good. Will Eccles, Zay, and all them guys. They come ready to work every day, and them guys, they played a couple games last year, so they basically got had the experience how things gonna be. So I feel like we're gonna be pretty good.
I'm curious your role this year. Obviously, hand in the dirt, standing up on the outside, linebacker. Where are you kind of foreseeing yourself during the process early on?
I feel like the edge, coming off at the edge of the defense.
Sean Womack, a very highly decorated player out of LSU. How's he been transferring in? And the meshness with him, how's that been?
He's a great guy. He come in every day ready to work, no matter what it is. He can be somebody can be down over. He's just gonna pick them. He's just the type of guy he is. He's a leader for the team, and every day he just come ready to work.
There's a player that played from Mississippi not long ago, C.J. Johnson, and that actually had someone say that you reminded him of C.J. Johnson. One thing that C.J. had was a lot of state pride, you being a Mississippian. Does that kind of go with you throughout the year, being from the state of Mississippi representing Ole Miss?
Yeah, it definitely do, because I've been here my whole life. I had cousins play here, Dante Moncrief, Woodrow Hamilton, guys like that. Just try to keep the thing, just keep going, just keep all the guys that's from Mississippi just feel good to play for your hometown and just close to the family.
What's it mean to have those family ties and to have fans come up to you and be grateful that you chose to play at Ole Miss and decided to stay in state when you could have went anywhere you wanted to?
It means a lot. Just staying in hometown, just playing for my people from back home, guys like that. It feel real good.
You heard it from pretty much everyone. Everyone is ready to get going against Georgia State. I tried to prod a couple of players about a revenge factor with Kentucky. They weren't having it. They were talking about going 1-0 and going game to game. I was exceptionally impressed with Suntarine Perkins talking about playing in Mississippi and representing the state of Mississippi. That's something that's kind of a lost art. And, Lane talked about in the press conference about how with the new, I think David Kellum asked a question about the new world of NIL and that sort of thing, and he kind of pushed it off and said, you don't have that play for the home team or home state in this case, and kind of a lost art. So really, really cool to hear I'm genuinely interested to see Deshaun Stribling on the field. Some of the practice video that has come out has been he's very impressive. So definitely be interesting to see. We appreciate you being part of the Red and Blue Crew podcast. Look forward to wall-to-wall coverage coming for you down the road, and excited to see what's in store for this Ole Miss football team. Like I said, it's going to be fun to watch on offense, question marks on defense, but I think as long as Pete Golding is leading the charge, Ole Miss will be in fine shape. Thankful for our Thailand presenting sponsor. That's, of course, the Land Shark and the Velvet Ditch. We're grateful they're part of the Red and Blue Crew podcast. Also thankful for the Hearn Law Firm. Any type of legal need that you need, the Hearn Law Firm is your go-to for all legal needs. They're proud supporters here on the Red and Blue Crew podcast. They're big Ole Miss fans. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon right here on the Red and Blue Crew podcast. As David Johnson will join me for our next show. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining.